Right now, we don't worry about those mass shooting, but we worry about those individuals who have access to guns and let loose to their children and carry around and bring to school. Violence in terms of mass shooting per se, we don't believe that it happened on our school campuses because we are so strict and we are very secure that everyone who comes in and out, they have to be signed in and checked. It's sad to see that the most developed country in the world, there's still guns ramping around throughout the country and make it available to the children and to adults and then cause a lot of mass shooting and killing. So it's sad to see that and it's quite worrisome. But when you look back, reflect to Cambodia, we see that there is a different culture. The gun control here is stricter, and because Cambodians have gone through so much war, people don't want to see violence anymore. They don't want guns anymore. They don't want shooting anymore or killing anymore. So that concept, it does not apply to Cambodian context. However, it creates a sense of normalcy. And eventually, if we continue to go on and the news continue to spread, kids these days, internet, network information spread very fast. The normalcy, the desensitization of this image, of these views, of this information will become a part of their life, that violence is become normal. So I'm worried about that. But because Cambodians live in a different country, have a different culture, this thing does not happen. What happened more in Cambodia is about domestic violence, individual incident that involve with family member and so on. And if you know a lot of killing that happen, it's also not about gun also. However, there's still some people who carry guns around and they allow the kids to have guns too. You can see that when parents come to pick up their kids, they bring guns along. And sometimes we ask them to not to bring and not to come into the school. Sometimes it's okay for them to cooperate and then listen. But sometimes it's hard for those people. They're quite stubborn. They don't understand the safety. They don't understand the image that show to public. In other countries, they would just be arrested and go to jail. But we face this kind of situation. And some people who work in the government that have access to guns, for some reason their children also have guns. And we resort to letting go some of students because they bring guns into their truck, in the back of their car, and a new set of guns. I just call on to the government or to those who are held responsible to be a little bit more responsible and not loose with the policy, because with the uniform of the army, with the weapons, they all let open access to their children. So they don't understand that whatever they're doing to the children, it can cause great damage, which in return consequences, big consequences to their duty, to their role and responsibility as a responsible government official. So right now we don't worry about this mass shooting, but we worry about those individuals who have access to guns and let loose to their children and carry around and bring to school. And they themselves, when they come to the school ground, they persist to go in with the gun. So we have difficulty sometimes with that. But because we have a strict policy, we don't let them in.
មជ្ឈមណ្ឌលភាសា AII LC បណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលថ្នាក់ភាសាអង់គ្លេសគ្រប់កម្រិត AII LC មាន3សាខា សាខាម៉ៅស៊ីតុង សាខាទួលគោក និងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AII LC មានគៀទៅកាន់អនាគតដ៏ភ្លឺស្វាងសាលារៀនអន្តរជាតិអាមេរិក AIS ជាសាលាចំណេះទូទៅខ្មែរដែលផ្ដោតលើគុណភាពវិន័យនិងសេវាកម្ម AIS មាន3សាខាសាខាម៉ៅស៊ីតុងសាខាទួលគោកនិងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AIS ធ្វើឲ្យជីវិតកូនលោកអ្នកកាន់តែប្រសើរ
They usually put in their car, and by having gun in your car, that is a dominant image characteristic. It shows that you are the top among the gangs. So therefore, people who are your friend usually tend to feel subordinate, feel inferior, and more or less you tend to be afraid of the person because of that. So I'm just hoping that the allowance of free gun carried by their children should be stopped because it is quite dangerous and we don't know who's and who unless we by chance know through Facebook posting and so on. Right now because we have a strict policy and we take action very fast, we see that children no longer posting guns, but once in a while we still see. But if I were the responsible person who are in charge of this gun control, I will go after those people who post gun in Facebook. Why would they have access to gun? And why would they post it to threaten someone? It is not a direct threat, but it is an indirect threat. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, in American culture, it's very open, and because things happen, they discuss. But in Cambodia, they say when it's not heard, you don't poke it. So we don't obviously discuss it openly to the student, but we understand the sensitivity of this issue. And because of that, from the day one of the school's establishment, we have a very strong security forces on the school grounds, to the point that at one time that one of the officials from the schools kind of make fun of us in a way ridiculously. Why would you bring so many security on the school campuses? And that was way back 12 years ago, where the abductions and so on were happening. Here we have a course of different class, different economic backgrounds, and big brother, big brother, big sister, and so on. You know, so we have to be very careful. So by having security on school campuses, it gives a sense of security. Students and parents feel they are safe and sound. So therefore, they have confidence in having their children here study with us, and that actually it shows in our performance that the students come here, they feel so secure, they feel at ease, sometimes more than at home, because there's no fighting, there's no violence. So basically, it's quite safe. And in addition to that, we have a very strong disciplinary committee that oversee the issue that's happening, not only on school campus, school buildings, but also outside. So we can spot if any gangster coming in, group of people want to fight, make an appointment, we know, we smell it right away. 100 meters right away outside the school. And because of that experience, we feel very confident. But we hope that this thing would happen in all other schools too, that they could do the same thing, well protected, well guarded. Students should be feel at home. Yes, I hope that they should have that sense of security. As you know, nowadays when there's a fight, no one help anyone. If there's a shooting, no one help anyone, because people like to run for their life And if there's a fighting, they like to watch and take photo and to see who win. So it's like, yeah, it's like cockfighting. And then it's so sad that nowadays it come resort to this point that people are no longer feeling the sensitivity of those gross violence. That's why when I said that the normalcy that they become.
ទេសូលជាវគ្គបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលគ្រូកសលគ្រូដែលមានការទទួលស្គាល់ជាអន្តរជាតិពីចក្រភពអង់គ្លេសទេសូលមានគៀឆ្ពោះទៅកាន់ភាពជោគជ័យសេវាកម្មដឹកជញ្ជូនអន្តរទ្វីបសេវាកម្មប្រកបដោយគុណភាពសុវត្ថិភាពនិងទំនុកចិត្ត
We, like I said, we never discuss about this thing, but we discuss about the overall security, like fire alarm, if there's any accident or of any fighting or anything. I think we have security that alert from floor to floor, and we have counselor that well trained, very professional. We have over 20 counselor on our school campus with a degree in psychology and education. And we have also a health center that have doctor, nurses that understand and treat students very well. And we have installed all the alarm system, all the fire extinguisher and all the firefighter and the exits and then so protocol and so on. We have all of that in plan. But violence in terms of mass shooting per se, we don't believe that it happened on our school campuses because we are so strict and we are very secure that everyone who come in and out, they have to be signed in and checked, and their bag had to be checked. The student the same thing. And sometimes the student once in a while bringing like knife and so on, we can tell. Because we know, and the student to the point that sometimes they don't bother to bring anymore because every time they never escape from our eyes, we can spot it right away because we train them so well to our staff here. Not only that, we have a team of inspector, we call school and building inspector. They're working almost like 24 hours around the clocks with over, I think, 820 CCTV. We have meetings regularly within our disciplinary committee, and we have regular meeting with our security and team. We have over 50 security members. And in addition to that, we have a disciplinary teacher who their role is to purely oversee students' activity, make sure that there's no fight, there's no gangs, there's no drugs, there's no abuse, and so on. Automatic dismissal. Automatic dismissal. Yeah, the same thing with fighting. We don't tolerate fighting, regardless of who's right or wrong. Most of the cases that we see fighting so far is about 3 cases for the past 12 years. 3 cases of fighting, and we caught on our CCTV, and they all get dismissed. We feel that when you set a policy and when you apply it and you be strict on a policy, they don't want to get dismissed. They don't want their children to be suspended. Not just only about the violence, about the fightings, about the guns, weapons, even the cheating. In our school, if students if students are cheating, when we see in the CCTV, and then we let them go and fail them, depend on the how gross the mistake is. But for staff, if they let students cheat, automatically dismissal. So sometimes you have to apply strict policy in order for an environment to be safe and sound. Security, safety, well-being of the student, and the sense of safe and sound for the staff and the student it's very important for you to be able to concentrate to study. So it's our job, our role and responsibility to make sure that that happens. And the parents, as long as they cooperate with us, then things would go well. But it's sad that once in a while we don't have parents that would like to cooperate with us because of power, because of ranking, because of economic power. They tend to be a little bit, bullying. So sometimes the bully and the violence and the verbal abuse is not from the children, but from the parents. Yes, I give you an example. When we ask one student not to bring phone to school or to class, and then not to use in class and use, and then we take out the phone for 1 month. And then the parent will come in and yell at the principal and then cursing around, something like that. That's a few years way back. And the students are fighting. We dismiss them, and the parents use of all power to come in and then bounce the table, thrust the desk and so on. But at the end, the children still dismiss, and the parents feel ashamed. So what's the point? Why you have to do that? They're more violent than their children. So that's why you can see that that's the children's like that. So it's everything stems from the image, the experience, how the children see. So that's why I say that sometimes it's harder, more difficult to deal with parents than with the kid.
មជ្ឈមណ្ឌលភាសា AII LC បណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលថ្នាក់ភាសាអង់គ្លេសគ្រប់កម្រិត AII LC មាន3សាខាសាខាម៉ៅសេតុងសាខាទួលគោកនិងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AII LC មានគៀទៅកាន់អនាគតដ៏ភ្លឺស្វាងសាលារៀនអន្តរជាតិអាមេរិកាំង AIS ជាសាលាចំណេះទូទៅខ្មែរដែលផ្ដោតលើគុណភាពវិន័យនិងសេវាកម្ម AIS មាន3សាខាសាខាម៉ៅសេតុងសាខាទួលគោកនិងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AIS ធ្វើឲ្យជីវិតកូនលោកអ្នកកាន់តែប្រសើរ
Recently, there's a husband who came home and get hungry, and then couldn't find food, so he just beat his wife just like a kid in front of everyone, and then everyone was standing there watching. They feel as if this is a show for them to watch, and they love watching and taking photo rather than helping the vulnerable, poor lady that was beaten. They love watching just like cockfighting. And they get addicted to all those things. That's because of the social media create a sense of desensitization, a normalcy that become eventually part of their normal routine events that they see no big deal anymore. I'm very happy actually to see my school well equipped with not just only the doctor but a full-fledged student health center and also a counseling office full of counselors that are qualified as a psychologist, as an educator. And because of all the resources that we have regular PTA meeting with parents, teacher conference. And then we see students who need to improve, we see students who have problems, we see students who are disturbing, who might have psychological issues, students who might have a, obsessive compulsive disorder, students who are different kind, we can tell, and then we keenly observe and we follow, and sometimes we kindly ask parents that they remove some of their children and go to a special school, maybe an NGO somewhere that more fitted to their requirement. So as a doctor, I'm very keen to make sure that all these things are well looked into, because I know that it takes a village to raise a child. So it takes a country to raise a number of students in the school. I just hope that all stakeholders would be, involved in this kind of caring and understanding, and make sure that they put effort to help children grow, to help children well fit and fit into the society so that they could become a good citizen for the future of Cambodia. So I just hoping and asking and call on all stakeholders to take part and to be involved in this kind of thing. Yes, children is the foundation to our future, and as I always say, we need to invest in them financially, mentally, emotionally, time, and so on. But in the future, we need them more than they need us. We have many activities that kind of refresh their mind. Physical activity like physical education. We have karate, we have bokatao, we have swimming, we have tennis, we have track and field. It's part of the curriculum, yes, and except that some schools emphasize little, some schools emphasize a lot, and for us we emphasize tremendously. Because we see that students' health depends on the activity they are in, how active they are, how inactive they are. So we become known for swimming, and we become known for the best tennis player and track and fields and so many sports that we are favorite of the Ministry of Education, because we produce so many athletes that joins the competition, nation and international and so on. So we try to keep our children involved and be more in sport and be active. Not just only academic, not just only sport, but also technological training, study field, study tour, charity, community, volunteer. Basically, all our students exposed to all of that, and that is a healthy activity, and it tames them to become a kind human being, understand human being with empathy, with a sense of responsibility, and caring toward other people, helping to other people. I'm very happy and I'm proud that our school are able to be able to do that for our students, for their future and their potential, of becoming someone who are very well known, loving, respected, at least husband or wife. So I believe my children here are very lucky because they're exposed to many good things.
ទេសូលជាវគ្គបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលគ្រូកសលគ្រូដែលមានការទទួលស្គាល់ជាអន្តរជាតិពីចក្រភពអង់គ្លេសទេសូលមានគៀឆ្ពោះទៅកាន់ភាពជោគជ័យសេវាកម្មដឹកជញ្ជូនអន្តរទ្វីបសេវាកម្មប្រកបដោយគុណភាពសុវត្ថិភាពនិងទំនុកចិត្ត
Yeah, well, that's why they always say that in order to keep children from doing harm's way is to constantly involve with them and involve them in activity that keep them busy. Some countries like in the US, where I'm from, they have boys and girls club. So after school, you would go to a boys and girls club. They have tutor, free. They have game. They have someone who will help you with homework and so on. Or they have a school after school activity because parents work until 5, 6 o'clock. So the students go home. If you don't set schedule for them, then they will go to their friend's house. They join gangs. They do something crazy. That's why they say that keep them busy. And believe me, Cambodian children are over busy. They have not only school in the morning, school in the afternoon, school in the evening, school in the weekend, so they're all occupied. And besides school, they have sport. Some of them do speech club, some of them do charity, some do music, and so on. There's a variety of events for our students to choose, especially children in the city where parents are well off and they can afford better school and so on. They are very, very lucky, so they shouldn't take it for granted. They should not, because not many people can afford that. Not just in Cambodia, every country, those who can afford, usually they stay home after school, and those who cannot or who can afford, but they go to after school program to enrich their English, their math, and so on. So basically, it's boiled down to who's and who can afford and cannot afford. Yes, but I think children in Cambodia, same thing. Not everyone can have that kind of how would I say, many people care for them, many things to choose, many things to do, many things to eat. They have the luxuries to they can afford to do it. But if you go to some other places, let alone all these luxury things, materialistic thing, let alone all of that, just a simple basic classroom, they can't afford it. So I believe that the children in my school and many other schools are lucky. So they shouldn't take it for granted, and they should just try to study hard, stay in school, stay out of gang, stay out of drugs, and don't involve in all this negative activity, gambling and so on, and become addicted, eventually waste money, and then get hooked into something that is not helpful and healthy for them. So I just hope that all parents be on the watch out, don't too busy doing business, but a little bit more busy watching, taking care, look after their children. We are moving forward now. I see a lot of improvement in our sector, and I see that children nowadays in Cambodia who believe that children can carry 2-3 phones, who can afford an iPhone in the state. You have to be a certain age, but here my daughter's friends only is in 4th grade, and they have 2 phones already, and that's unbelievable.
The latest models.
Yes, the latest model, most expensive. And who say Cambodia can't afford it? A certain Cambodian can afford, and certain Cambodian can afford. But overall, I think the country is moving toward the right direction. So I hope that they catch this opportunity, not for the advancement of materialistic and over luxury and indulge themselves in that, but more of taking that opportunity and then build on that and make use of that. Yes. That's the reason why I keep criticizing before many times. I say that you are too smart to study, but you're not too smart to learn, and you learn too much that you don't know nothing.
It's not really healthy.
It's not. There's no such country that would do that. And that's the reason why it boiled down to my conclusion that you are buying and selling degree for the purpose of studying too many degree, and then how could you make it, and yet let you get an A almost in all those degrees and you graduate. So if you have people study in the morning at 1 degree, second degree in the afternoon, another degree in the evening, and then at the same time master degree in weekend, and they work. Do you believe that is study? No. And the students are going crazy. They're not focusing. They get lost. We'll just say this way. Medical school alone need 24 hours, 7 days a week. Let alone do any other thing, you do not even have time to sit down eat properly. In other country, like in the state, you're not allowed to do 2 degrees at 2 university, because that demolishes the morals, the quality, the image, and the reputation of the education system. You're demoralizing it, which means that your system is too weak. Your student is too proud that they get too many degrees, they get too many knowledge, but they know nothing, empty, zero. That's why when they graduate, they go to work. A lot of them fail. They need to retrain and retrain. What they should do is study one degrees major that they like, focus on it, read on it, research on it, and then do work on it as a part-time intern volunteer. Then you come out, you become a good, experienced, qualified, exposed person ready to challenge in the world. But now you hire 10 people, you have so many that fail, not qualified. So it is a sad reality, but it's quite different from 15 years ago today, which means that it's constantly improved. But at what rate, that's for someone to decide.
មជ្ឈមណ្ឌលភាសា AII LC បណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលថ្នាក់ភាសាអង់គ្លេសគ្រប់កម្រិត AII LC មាន 3 សាខាសាខាម៉ៅសេតុងសាខាទួលគោកនិងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AII LC មានគៀទៅកាន់អនាគតដ៏ភ្លឺស្វាងសាលារៀនអន្តរជាតិអាមេរិកាំង AIS ជាសាលាចំណេះទូទៅខ្មែរដែលផ្ដោតលើគុណភាពវិន័យនិងសេវាកម្ម AIS មាន 3 សាខាសាខាម៉ៅសេតុងសាខាទួលគោកនិងសាខាចាក់អង្រែ AIS ធ្វើឲ្យជីវិតកូនលោកអ្នកកាន់តែប្រសើរ TESOL ជាវគ្គបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលគ្រូកសលគ្រូដែលមានការទទួលស្គាល់ជាអន្តរជាតិពីចក្រភពអង់គ្លេស TESOL មានគៀឆ្ពោះទៅកាន់ភាពជោគជ័យ សេវាកម្មដឹកជញ្ជូនអន្តរជាតិសេវាកម្មប្រកបដោយគុណភាពសុវត្ថិភាពនិងទំនុកចិត្ត